It is day 26 of the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge. The 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge is a challenge started by my friend Kevin Cross, where an artist, in this case myself, is supposed to spend at least 30 minutes a day, minimum, for 100 consecutive days working on their own personal comic project. And the project I'm working on is Quarterly Stories, which is a very personal story to me about faith and mental illness that I handwrite, hand letter, and hand draw, and then hand to you. Hopefully someday in print, but until that day, it's available serialized online at quarterlystories.com, or more recently, you can go to topis.io and search for Quarterly Stories and add it to your library, which is a nice way to kind of bring readership to the book. Of course, if you go to topis.io and you check out Quarterly Stories and you're like, this is a piece of crap, then don't add it to your library. No need to add it to your library. But if you want to support what I'm doing and stuff like that, just doing that little step would be cool and would help me kind of gain readership and hopefully, get some more encouragement to kind of keep going on this project. All right, now that spiel is out of the way, what am I doing for day 26? So, I am speaking from the past right now because, of course, I'm going to show you my progress on my comic, which I can't really work on right at this moment because I'm on my way to work. But it's also Tuesday, so I'm going to play some rock and roll with my buddy, because we play rock and roll every Tuesday. And so get together with the band, play some rock and roll, and then hopefully after that, I would like to get going on penciling panel 4 of page 60 of Quarterly Stories, which I'm pretty excited about. I made a decision a couple days ago on this vlog to kind of make this page that I'm currently working on more of an airplane manual type illustration. And so I've realized while penciling this, like, a lot of this is going to come down to the ink and the inking and kind of like the way that it's done with really generic line weights and stuff like that. Man, the freeway is really backed up, very backed up. Anyhow, so so I mean, that's kind of the plan, to basically do Rock and Roll Tuesday and then work on Quarterly Stories, penciling panel 4, and then we'll see where it goes from there. I do know that client approved the artwork that I showed you yesterday for a t-shirt, and they want me to do another t-shirt design, and this is one of my favorite clients, so of course I'm going to take it on. And so I might have to get going on roughs for that tonight as well, depending on when the deposit, when the invoice for the last project gets paid. So yeah, that's all what's on my dock, and what's on my mind today is just kind of making sure that I'm prepped and ready. Mike Emirates, who's also on YouTube, he's done the 100 Days Challenge in the past and worked on the 100s anthology and stuff, and we've had him on Artcasters. He's a good dude. But one of his big warnings, because I was asking for tips when I was heading into the 100 Days Challenge, and he said day 30, like watch out for day 30. And so as I'm ebbing closer and closer to day 30, I'm suddenly kind of having this mild dread of, like, will this be a problem? Will day 30 be really hard? And I could see where maybe by day 30, just the idea of maintaining doing these daily vlogs and uploading them on time could get really difficult. But right now, so far how I'm feeling about the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge is pretty pumped. Like, one thing it's gotten me to do, it's a little outside of my routine, like the production of comics is pretty consistent to what I've been doing for the last like year and a half to 2 years, and maybe has discouraged me from like taking a day off in the week, which is, occasionally would happen. Occasionally I would take one day off out of the week. So that's a little different, but that's not as much of an adjustment. The one adjustment is that it's really created momentum for me to create content for YouTube, documenting what I'm doing on my comic. And so for that, I'm like really stoked about the 100 Days Challenge. The other thing that I've found as a byproduct of it is it's built a little bit more community online. And this is going to get into something that I'd like to talk about more in depth, but it's basically the idea of like the importance of community. Now, I don't get to engage with the Hundreds community as much as I like. They have a Facebook page and they have a live hangout that I've still not been able to be a part of. And part of the reason for that is I have like a very limited amount of time in my day. I commute for about 2.5 hours to 3 hours a day. If it's trafficy, that could be up to, that can honestly be up to like 4 or 5 hours a day. And then I work as a full-time art director for 8 hours a day, and sometimes like yesterday that was 10 hours, and sometimes it's even longer than that. But the majority of the time it's about 8 hours a day. And then I'm a father and a husband, and so like I want to spend time with my son and with my wife. And so if I carve out all of that stuff that I just mentioned, that leaves me with very small windows of time where I need to be productive. And so for me, to stay consistent and productive, sometimes I have to sacrifice something socially. And unfortunately, in this case, it's been like I can't do the Hundreds hangout yet, because I do Artcasters once a week, and that even getting that window of time to just kind of hang out with Scott and with whoever our rotating guest is really hard to do. And I'm thankful for it, but if I commit to something like that and build it as a habit, it becomes more feasible to do. Just kind of like my exercise thing that I've been working into my daily routine. And once it's kind of a daily routine, kind of like these vlogs, it becomes possible to do. But I haven't really been able to find like a window of time where I'm going to be able to fit kind of hanging out with a lot of the Hundreds community on Facebook, outside of just kind of participating on the posts and stuff like that. But I will say, with the mild amount of participation in that community, other than through my YouTube page and through the people I follow who are in the Hundreds community and participating on their YouTube pages, other than that, like that kind of manual, writing and engaging in that way, kind of participation, I'm not the best example of a Hundreds community member, I guess my point is, because I still haven't been able to do the hangouts, and it kind of bums me out because I'd like to. They sound really fun. But my point was, even with that, I'm not able to like fully invest like 110% in that community, and yet I feel a sense of community and encouragement from that community for where I'm at in the challenge. Like I get the sense that there are people within the Hundreds community that are rooting me on, that are engaged in what I'm doing, and also are encouraging, kind of cheerleading throughout the process, and that's really encouraged me. And that's actually one of the big things I've noticed too about the Hundreds challenge so far, is the community is really cool, really supportive, and that's been a nice byproduct as well. So that's what I've got so far on my dock for the day. I'm gonna head to work. I'm gonna knock out some art and some graphic design super fast, and then I'm gonna go home and rock and roll. And then I'm going to work on my comics. So I'll show you all footage of that. And this has gone for 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right. I'll see you guys when I get home or when I'm heading home. rock. I'm back home from band practice. Now it's time for me to get day 26 of the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge done. I'm going to pencil a panel and then show you guys what I've done. Alright, a pretty successful day 26. I penciled 2 more panels for page 60 of Quarterly Stories. I rocked, I rolled, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks to those of you who've subscribed, commented, and shared and liked these YouTube videos. It means a lot. It helps me keep the channel growing, helps me keep going, and appreciate it. One last thing, if you haven't gone to Tapas and added Quarterly Stories to your library, go do it. Do it! Alright, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.